I'm sniffing now the higher proof, the 66%. This has a little less
I
notes.
just smelled my mic.
Oh, you did?
Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to. But you probably should, and you probably are, and that's why we like you. And speaking of people we do like you. We want to hear from you. Reach out to us on Instagram. If you're a new listener and we've never talked to you, just say, hey, I'm here. And let us know. If you're an old-time listener, we haven't heard from you for a while, we'd love to hear from you. So anyway, reach out to us on Instagram if you want to support the podcast monetarily and also be able to join in on our Chill Filter drink-alongs. Make sure you hit us up on patreon.com/chillfiltered /
Always /
always / and you can get in at the $10 tier, and you won't be able to join in the next 3 months for the drink-alongs. Well, probably
you'll get goodies in the meantime, but you won't be able to. Yeah, actually you will. We actually have plenty of availability for a few extra samples to be couriered. So yeah, if you sign up now, you can hop on. You won't get this month because we're doing a drink along next weekend.
Yeah, what the date will be the 20th. 20th. So and we're looking at 2:30 Mountain Standard.
Yeah, works for me.
2:30 Mountain Standard, 1:30 Pacific.
4:30
Eastern. And then Midwest, is it Midwest? Is that the one?
It's technically Central Time.
3:30. There you go.
It's good math.
Anyway, adding and subtracting one is my forte.
You'd be surprised.
Speaking of people with math fortes, Cole, how you doing, bud?
Good. Hey, and I'm
wow.
Shabadoo.
Shabadoo. This is the best podcast we've ever had.
Yeah. So far, so good. Yeah, I get to share my good news this week. Oh, nice Bourbon Badger sticker on your cool Yeti cup or whatever.
I got my Bourbon Badger on there now.
It's killer.
I got my embellished pop.
Yeah.
I got to get our new sticker on there.
Ooh, you know what? We should reach out to our listeners if they have a sticker that is bourbon related. Such as, like Caleb Olson doesn't have a podcast, but he's got his own freaking sticker, which is amazing. So if you got your own sticker,
look at that. Not that we
need to do that too,
much, but and I have an ADHD whiskey one coming. It's in the mail. Yeah, I was like, I didn't have one. I was like, I gotta throw one on there. So yeah,
that's great. Yeah,
it's in the mail. So anyway, your news.
Yeah. My good news for the week, and it's not like people might have been expecting I don't know, something crazy, but it's just personal news that I wasn't able to share last week, but I was really excited about. So I just actually got a new job. I had been working for my last company.
I thought you were going to share that third nipple is actually not a nipple, just a mole.
No, it's a
new job.
Shouldn't.
No.
I did I was like, where did I leave off? I've loved working for my previous company for the last 3+ years. It's been amazing. I was well taken care of by them. Really enjoyed it. But I found this opportunity here in Richmond, Virginia area, and it just seemed too good to pass up. It seemed like very interesting work that would be very right up my alley of what I can do and what I'm good at and what I like to do as well. And there was a lot of things that I like to do and what I was good at my last company.
Well,
but this one kind of had an appeal that was pretty special. So starting up tomorrow morning on Valentine's Day, when this is released, I will probably, as you're listening, if you're listening on Valentine's Day, I very well might be at work right now at my new job. Doing orientation.
Well, the cool thing too is being able to work remote is a huge deal. It's great, but be able to work part remote and then also be able to go into the office, being able to get away from the house is pretty key too. So, good for you. So
I wish this was hybrid because it's actually complete full time in the office. Yeah, so I will need to go in every day. It's about a 30 minute drive.
Oh, that's
but I think it'll be worth it. Yeah,
on a drive that length, you can listen to half of our episode on the way there, half on the way back.
It's just like driving your kids to school and listening to Chill Filtered while you're doing it. Shout out to Chloe,
yeah, and the Bourbon Badgers, and I don't remember
all I know is that they're all
Well,
Great kids.
Bourbon Badger, ADHD whiskey.
And maybe a few
Have a-
others. I want to say like
maybe-
John Hughes might as well.
Yeah. Well,
I
hey,
don't
you know
know.
what, kids? Kids, have a
Kids.
good day.
Yeah.
Your daddy loves you.
Yeah. Chill
He's
Filter
a
loves
wonderful
you.
man.
Yeah.
And you listen and respect him and come home a winner or
Yeah.
don't come home at all.
It's basically what happens when you're a Patreon supporter. You're beautiful. If you're the daughters / sons of a listener, you're
the heir
good
of the
kids.
Patreon supporter. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You're a good kids. So
In
keep that
fact,
up, good kids.
it's causation.
Yeah.
If your kids are misbehaving, hit us up on Patreon.
Yeah.
And
It's pretty much
they'll
simple.
start acting better.
$10 a month, and you're already on the drink long status. So
Mhm.
it's pretty simple. So yeah, I got a new job, so I'm excited. I mean, like, it's cool and like it's exciting, and you know, it was actually okay. So let's talk about some realness.
Okay.
Telling my boss was really hard.
Yeah.
Because I like
Especially
love
when
my
you have a
boss.
job you like.
Yeah, and like I kind of like was sad, you know, like part of it's like, no, I'm so sorry. Like you've done so much for me, boss.
Mhm.
And part of it's like, I'm excited about this new opportunity, but like, I want to tell you also what you meant to me as a manager. So I didn't like cry or anything, but I was kind of getting choked up, and I was like,
yeah.
like, and yeah, it was altogether good. So one of the things that my company did was or does, and the policy is, if you start work for technically a competitor, which can be debatable if what a competitor is, then typically you don't get notice. You that was your last official day once you give that notice. And so that's kind of what I intended to happen on Wednesday. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna start working for another property casualty insurer. And technically it's a very different line of insuring stuff. Like it's not just car, home, and stuff like that. It's what's called E&S, which is excess and surplus lines. And so they actually didn't consider that to be competitor, at least with what I do. So they're like, no, you could have gave 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, snap. And they were nice about it. They were like, no, we understand, because if you had asked about it and you would have been like serious, like, hey, what happens if I do, then it would have been on the table already, if you know what I mean. Like, so I made an assumption and they understood that. And they were like, no, I mean, if you had worked for another company, we would have had to cut you off right away. And the nice thing was, as I used my last day. I don't know where that came from. I picked my last day to be a day where I was between projects instead of in the middle of projects. So that was my nice thing to do, I guess, which isn't that nice, but it's not nice. So, are you first of all, Robby?
Yeah.
How are you doing? And second of all, answer the second of all first. Are you entry buzzing at all?
I did have a little bit. It's still, Well, here's the thing. I had a little bit of Doers. My father-in-law came by this week and got me a handle of Doers.
I barely knew hers.
Hey,
hey,
but it was pretty sweet. So we got himself like a new Sprinter converted camper,
like a Mercedes one.
Yeah.
Nice.
He went all out to it. It's nice. And he was like, yeah,
wait, who's this?
Chelsea's dad.
Oh, cool.
So
that's cool.
Grandpa Pat.
Nice.
And he's like, yeah, you know, you guys can use it whenever you want. So I'm going to bring by and show it to you. But he put the handle in the fridge on the side, and it like half of it leaked out. So yeah, at least that's what he said. I don't know if he was imbibing on the way over. So I had a little bit of Doers. What are you sipping on there, Cole?
I am sipping the last portion of the Macallan Classic Cut that I didn't drink during the episode we did on that episode, right in December, I want to say that was.
Yeah. Oh, yummy. How am I doing? I'm doing better this week, because if you'll notice, I've thought through my name this time. I don't think that's inappropriate. It's very rappery.
Yeah.
And it is my name. I'm Robby.
Fits right in. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. I'm doing better there. So I do have to be honest. I said, if you become a Patreon, there's causation for your children to be wonderfully behaved.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be a Patreon.
You're not,
you're
not
a Patreon. That's why. Yeah, no, we planned on recording yesterday, and then it just Chelsea's working, and it turned out to be like I had a lot going on, as far as just Mara had a sleepover and had to drop her friend back off, and then my mom had us over for lunch and had to do that, and then in the evening we went over to Chelsea's brother's house and did dinner, and they did like Valentine's gifts and stuff like that.
Nice.
But in the mix of all that, some of the worst 4-year-old fits known to man have occurred. So, with bated breath, I'm hoping to get through this episode without anyone freaking out. But I did save their screen time for recording. So
nice.
Hopefully they're glued to that instead of screaming. So
hey, if they do, you should bring them into the view, and then we should make that our cold open. That would actually be somewhat funny.
Just screaming. It's funny from the cheap seats. Boy,
that's
I felt
sure.
bad. I felt bad for Chelsea. So she had like, oh gosh, she had a really rough day at the hospital yesterday.
Rough.
And then came home, and it was like, she was planning on, she wanted to go over tonight to her brother's house, and I was like, yeah, I hate having to work next morning.
I hate that brother of yours.
No.
John's awesome.
But no, they're great. But I hate not being home the night before going back on a Monday. Just because you just want to be home, get things figured out, ready to roll.
That's you too. You're a homebody.
I am a homebody. I like being home.
I bought a house. I'm the opposite.
I bought a house, and I'm making it what I want.
Very own house. Yeah,
I got my own house, and I made it what I want. And why wouldn't I want to be home? I do need to start branching out.
I just have cabin fever.
Yeah.
Even with COVID, I was like, I just need to drive around. Like that's what I do sometimes.
I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but it started taking the girls. Like I was talking to one of the guys I work with. He's the athletic director at our school, and he was like, "Yeah, I come here with my kids on the weekends and we shoot hoops and stuff." I was like, nice. I haven't thought about doing that, but I don't know why I didn't. So we have a little bit of cabin
at the
fever.
School. That's smart.
Yeah. So
nice.
It's been fun. I've been taking there on the weekend, and, letting the girls ride their scooters around and shooting hoops with tomorrow. So it's been fun. But I can't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah. Anyway, so and then we went out to her brother's house, and it's like one of those days. And then in the evening, had the second hugest fit for a 4-year-old ever. And so Chelsea had no break, and I was like, I am so sorry. And then
I'm guessing Juniper.
It was Junie, but I don't know.
I just took a wild stab.
Yeah, Junie's explosive.
Oh, really? I can see that. That's for sure. I could see Finley being Finley's
emotional.
Yeah.
Finley's just her fits are more emotional in nature and less explosive. It's a lot more like, you don't love it, you don't care. And I'm like, honey, I do so much. I'm just sorry that I messed this thing up for you that you really wanted, or I had to tell you no. And Juniper's like, get away. So I tell you, 4 years, I don't know if anyone else has gone through this or going through this, but 4-year-old is the hardest stage we've had. It wasn't terrible twos.
It's worse than terrible twos.
Terrible twos, and then threes were fairly. Maybe I'm just forgetting it now, but yeah.
Hey, not a bad thing.
Four's tricky. Yeah. Ooh. Onward and downward to the next thing. Oh, what? Ooh.
So on Thursday, check this out.
Okay.
So I told you about the hard D's. That are easier
from the last episode. There you go. Got to get to that point quicker, Cole.
Yeah. And so Beck has said "dada," which I've mentioned is awesome. But on Thursday this past week, I said, "Can you say dada?" And she goes, "Dada," and I was like, because there's repeating things, but then immediately repeating them is something else. So I was like, but she's into the B's now. She says a lot of ba 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 instead of.
So it was funny when we brought Amara back. She would say just different sounds. There's the mama and ba 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 and stuff like that. But then she'd be like a gunk, and I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
Beck's like wah 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 wah. She used to do that a lot, wah 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 wah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I have a theory of why Dada and Mama exist. Yeah, and Mama, Dada, it's very patriarchal sexism. The dad's like, I rule this household, and that first sound that kid made,
oh yeah,
that's me. That second sound's you, but the first one, it's me. That's my theory.
That I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Either way, that's fine. Dad's got to get moms just labor through everything. Literally, they hold it for 9 months. Dad's, they get the feeding times, and they have the very close bond. Right, being a dad is harder than being a mom. I'm just gonna say it right now. And dads need something, and they need to be talked about first.
Yeah, everything you said. Right And we just lost all of our female
All
listeners.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So let's see how are we doing on time. We're doing all right.
we're
on
all
time.
right. We're about that spot.
Any songs you've been into lately? Any like go-to bands lately?
Go-to bands? No, I started listening to re-listening to Nirvana Unplugged in New York. And that's a good one.
Nice.
But the song that's stuck in my head the most is
It's the
Paw
David
Patrol.
Bowie cover.
Paw Patrol will be there on the double. Yeah,
Nice.
Girls are like into Paw Patrol right now, and we sing that song all the time. Don't want to, but we do.
I watched a Bluey episode while we were doing Christmas, and it was good. I mean, it's very entertaining.
Bluey's great.
Yeah, I mean, even for an adult, you're like, I could watch this with my kid. Yeah. We watched the one where they did like a bus. They were like pretending that the dad was the bus driver.
Oh no, not you again.
No.
Yeah. Bluey's great. So I tell you what, I think we're all into the 3 B's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the 4 B's actually: bourbon,
mm-hmm.
Bluey, Bush's baked beans. That's
yes.
5.
Yes, that is true. The old 5 B's. Yeah.
5 B's. What do you listen to? You asked that question. I gotta assume there's something that you really.
Yeah, I've been listening a lot more to. I've been like obsessed with the Yeah Yeahs, and I think I said that last time.
You've been there for about a month now.
No, I've been there for like probably
2
3
months?
months now. Yeah,
3 months. Yeah.
But it's to the point where I'm like, if they ever came through town, I couldn't say no to seeing them in concert. Like, and I would sing along to every song basically because I've listened to their whole discography, and it's like, okay, I like them. They're down. They're dope. You know.
So I was having this conversation the other day. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast. I probably have, but like. I took for granted like Tom Petty would be at the Gorge, which is just like a 3-hour drive from my house. But every year he stopped by. And that's the thing is like I always thought, I'll go next year. Never did. So like I've been starting to put together my bucket list of I haven't seen. It's a very short list right now, but bands I haven't seen that I'm like, I gotta go see. So
when the Pumpkins got back together in like 2012, I immediately bought tickets well over like at a secondary price. Because I was like, they might break up. And that's the Pumpkins for you. Like, they'll break up whenever they feel like it. Or at least Billy will. And so that was kind of my thing when I originally got that. I was like, I'm willing to spend secondary kind of prices on these tickets because they sold out same day. Because, I might never, ever see them. Because at that point, I had never seen them because I got into them after their last tour before that, which was like 5 years before that.
Say tour again.
Tour.
Water.
Water. It's tour. What do you say? Tour? Like tour. Doers?
World tour.
Even though it's like Doers
tower.
Scotch.
Doer, barely newer.
Hey! Doers. Anyway, so anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I got to mention. So we bought tickets. I'd never seen Smashing Pumpkins. They're on the list.
Oh, nice.
And we bought tickets, and I think the concert was supposed to be like March 2020.
Of what band?
Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, nice.
Or it was April 2020, and it got canceled. So
that we were supposed to see. My wife's a big
actually
fan
no.
Of,
we were before. It was before that, and they decided that we were too small of a market.
That's right. I remember that.
To get to the next city next. Never mind. It wasn't COVID.
I was supposed to see them in Denver one time, and they got snowed out while they were driving through Wyoming, or the tour bus was.
Yeah.
But what was it? We were supposed to see My Chemical Romance, and I had Rage Against the Machine tickets during the pandemic, and both of them. The Rage Against the Machine keeps getting delayed. And so, but at this point, it's still in Phoenix. So I would need to fly out to Phoenix to see them. But I would consider it. I mean, Rage Against the Machine reuniting. What?
Dude.
Yeah.
Have you seen that festival that's going to be in Vegas?
Yes. When we were young.
Yeah. And it's got like My Chemical Romance, Taking Back
Jimmy
Sunday.
World. Yeah. It's got like all
Amberlin.
the goodies. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Amberlin got back together for this. Yeah.
I went to high school with a guy that played keyboards for Amberlin.
No way.
Yeah. He plays keyboards for Father John Misty.
Did you ever hear Amberlin's cover of New Order's True Faith?
No.
One of the best covers I've heard in terms of that kind of genre. Really good cover of True Faith. Yeah.
Nice.
But it's only on YouTube. You can't like find it on the music apps.
That's odd.
But it's worth it. Trust me.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I gotta tell you something.
What's up?
I gotta stretch my legs.
Let's stretch our legs, and we'll be back after we stretch our legs.
And go
We're gonna take a quick walk break. So here we go. And we're back. Hey, reminder to our listeners that you don't have to be a listener anymore. You can be a viewer and listen to get both going on at the same time, because we are on YouTube these days, and Robby's beautiful face is available on YouTube and podcast version. You won't see his face on the podcast version.
You'll prefer the podcast version.
Got a face meant for radio. Yeah, forgot to mention at the beginning. We only had like this week. We only had like 20 views on the YouTube, which is a good start for your first episode. Hey, so we're gonna move it on up.
I didn't have 20 friends.
I looked on. I looked.
Oh, they're all your.
I watched it as opposed to re-listening to it this week, and I was like, "This is funny, man." But not to toot my own horn. I just really enjoyed last episode. I thought that was a good one. Yeah. So real quick,
time back for a while. It was
fresh. Oh, we were killing it. Yeah.
You know,
and it's nice to like interact a little more. Like when we were doing the pre-recorded, it just didn't feel as interactive in an outward way, you know.
Yeah, during the week. Well, I tell you, I listened to all the January ones, and I was like, I missed. It was like because we didn't really talk much. So then to me, it was just like I'm hanging out with Cole again.
Yeah, exactly. Same way. All right, so getting into the history and stuff. Before I get into that, I wanted to do a quick shout out to Sean Ciaro. Sean. He this week reached out and he saw that the Alberta Premium was winning the 2-Pick Tuesday. And so he's like, don't forget, I sent you one too. And I'm like, oh crap, now we get to do two at once. Like we get to do a side-by-side, which we haven't mentioned. We haven't even mentioned what we're drinking today.
We haven't.
We are drinking Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye, 2 varieties. We're drinking the batch that's 66.0% and then a 63.7%.
Did you see my Benny in June?
Yeah.
Pretend like there's rolls on there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Two of them. There we go.
And then,
one leg's chubbier than the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I'll let you do your thing.
No, you're fine. So huge shout out to Sean for sharing the 66% pour. We're so grateful. And a baller on that guy.
For sure.
So.
Oh, balls.
Speaking of balls.
I didn't
there we go.
Mine. There
nice.
We go. So we're drinking 2 of these above 60% today.
What about it?
We're drinking 2 of these above 60%. Oh boy,
straight, baby.
All right. Tune in for the last 10 minutes of the episode. It's going to get wild.
Yeah. Like Robby won't be able to read Whiskey World News, so we'll just skip that segment.
Whiskey World News.
Yeah.
Heads down.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we drinking?
Real quick, drink along. Just a reminder, drink along this Saturday. This Sunday at 2:30 Mountain Time, 4:30 Eastern Time.
We'll sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge.
That's for sure. Prep your minds. And we'll send out some more reminders on Instagram and Patreon. So anyway, we're drinking Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye, 2 varieties, 2 batches. This is our first Alberta Premium product on the podcast. I had been dying to sip this since I had heard about it.
Yes.
A Cask Strength, 100% rye mash bill Canadian whiskey. I was stoked. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Alberta Distillers Limited, the company that makes Alberta Premium Cask Strength. I have only known about products from Alberta Distillers Limited for only a little bit, probably about 5 years that I've even known about the company behind this product we're drinking today. The first product I heard from them was a whiskey called Alberta Dark Rye, which I knew had sherry mixed into it, so it was kind of not diluted. There's probably a word that I could. probably
sherry mixed in.
Yeah. 1% of the whole drink was sherry.
Okay.
Yeah. So it
there's not
wasn't
much
like
butts there.
infused from the barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Less nuts.
And then on top of it, they had bourbon mixed into it. So if this were an American product, they couldn't call it a rye. But in Canada, the laws are a little looser, so they call it Alberta Dark Rye. And so
You loosey Canadian goosies.
exactly. But the fact is, the company started in 1946, and I thought it was a kind of a newer company, but it wasn't. But for almost its entire history, it was the case that they only sold their whiskey in Canada. So that's why we haven't heard of them for a while, or hadn't heard of them for a while. Yeah, so based in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Go Flames.
I don't know, like Bro Escatosos, who we haven't heard from in a while, and Jason Preston, some of our Canadian listeners.
Bro Tescas is going to come up in What Whiskey Would You Choose?
Nice. I love that. He deserves it. He's been liking our stuff. It's been a little while reached out. So hit us up, Will. Yeah. And Jason Preston too. So reach out. Do people call it, like, do people say, like, I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada? Or I don't know how they do it in Canada land. So anyway, nowadays they're owned by Beam Suntory. And have you ever been to Calgary, Robby?
No, I've never been. I've never been over to the east side of North America much.
It's like central.
So. Well, okay, then I've never been anywhere past. I've only been to Canada a couple times, and it was always up like Kamloops and stuff. I've never been to Vancouver.
Wow,
just straight shot from Omak, Washington.
Wow,
straight up, yeah,
straight up, baby. Yeah, I've
really
been
to love me forever.
Yeah.
Been to Canada, Calgary. No.
I wouldn't be surprised if Paula Abdul were Canadian. You never know when these artists are Canadian.
That. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's got a very Justin Bieber vibe about her.
Yeah. And like, what was that other? Shania Twain
if
is
Rush
Canadian.
And Justin Bieber had a child, it would be Paula Abdul.
Yeah, probably. Did you know Shania Twain was Canadian?
I think I knew that, but it's not something that I think about daily.
I think about it every single day. No, I'm kidding. So anyway, they are very proud that they have always worked with local Canadian farmers to get their rye. And a lot of people say it's a pretty potent rye, like the actual like grain in Canada. I mean, like the thing about Canadian, whiskey is that if you get local ingredients, you can only grow so many grains up in Canada, rye being probably one of the dominant ones. And there is barley, like you can get barley up north. I mean, you get barley in like Scotland and it's like the up. Yeah. Barely gets.
You can get barley in. Where did the Floki came from? Iceland, right?
Yeah, that's true. And
Iceland?
they grew it on their own. Yeah, and so
hardy barley.
So barley grows pretty much everywhere, but I'm assuming I definitely know corn does not. But I also know I don't know about wheat. On the other hand, I know some wheat. They can get you can get like winter wheat or like red winter wheat if you're at Maker's Mark. But I don't know how that grows in Canada. But I know it's not as easy to grow things like corn. But anyway, rye is like a weed from what I hear. It's very easy to grow, can grow in a lot of circumstances. But yeah, it's like kind of spicy. I mean, that's where we get a lot of rye spice from. And so from what I hear, and I might be wrong on this, just what I've heard is the crazier the terroir. You like that? Oh, you like that?
Oh, yeah, I do. I love that.
The stronger the like the rye spice can be.
Okay.
So anyway,
terroir is like land, right?
Yeah, and it's like the growing environment for the most part.
Growing environment.
Yeah. Okay. And like, yeah, if it's like a rocky soil or like on a cliffside or something, I don't know.
High clay count.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I hear that's a potent rye, and they're one of the only remaining North American distillers that even produces a 100% rye mash bill. And I don't know why, because usually 100% rye mash bills can be amazing. I have a feeling it's because of their lack of malted barley. And we've discussed this before. Malted barley has a good amount of an enzyme that breaks down sugar breaks down grain into sugar. And that's why you will almost always see, especially in American whiskeys, there will be at least some malted barley in the mash bill, especially like bourbons and ryes. That being said, sometimes 100% rye mash bills will incorporate a small percentage of malted rye. And I don't know, and it's very much a thing, malted rye. We've seen it on that episode we did with Bluebird Distilling. I believe they had a malted rye in their mash bill. And so... But,
excuse me, waiter. There's a malted rye in my mash bill.
I actually do think it's funny. Like I wasn't faking that laugh, and I normally never fake a laugh for you. Actually, I don't. I really do think it's funny. Like I'll be like that's bad, you know.
So
or I'll
here's
have
the thing.
a pity laugh for you.
We've said that. I've said this before. Like that's the thing with dad jokes.
Yeah.
Is you got to sell it as like this really isn't that funny, but so you just go, yeah. We both know you're an idiot.
Yeah. Sometimes I just laughing at you.
Yeah, that's fine. Wait,
but so yeah, that like the malted rye, I believe, can help with like the actual malting or the mash process, not the malting process. Which makes me wonder, can I get a solid answer from anyone on this? And is the question is, can corn be malted? And I actually did look this up in a little more depth. I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to say I found an affirmative on my question. There is a way to malt corn, but they just don't do it often. And that's the real next question: is why don't they malt corn more often? Anyway, I'll
ask Papa G. Papa G, one of our listeners.
Yeah, he's got farming stuff. Yeah,
he'll know.
Tell him to malt his corn, man. Anyway, we've discussed blended Canadian whiskey before, where blenders can use base spirits, basically 100% like wheat mash bills or maybe 100% corn mash bills. And then they will mix it with flavoring spirits, which are typically things like 100% rye mash bills, for more flavor. But of course, this being 100% rye mash bill whiskey, this is a Canadian whiskey, but not a Canadian blended whiskey. But from 2006 to 2009, 4 years in a row, Alberta Distillers Limited's standard Alberta Premium Rye, not the cask strength, their standard, won the Canadian Whiskey of the Year 4 years in a row. But it wasn't until 2019 where they started releasing Alberta Premium cask strength. And it wasn't until the last year or two that they started offering it even in the US. So Jim Murray in 2021, it seems so long ago that he gave this score, but I guess it was only like last year's one. And I don't think he put out a 22. I think he was canceled. Poor guy. He's out. Yeah.
Well, someone messaged us something about Jim Murray this week.
That was Sean Ciaro, yeah. And so that was from 2021.
Oh, 2021.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm gonna look this
and
up.
Yep, he gave the World Whiskey of the Year to the Alberta Premium cask strength, specifically the 65.1%, not one we're drinking today, which is big. And the last time a Canadian whiskey won World Whiskey of the Year was like 2016, I want to say. And that was when Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye won the World Whiskey of the Year, according to Jim Murray. And like we said many times, don't trust one person. Don't trust us. I looked at, we drank the, our last drink along. We drank Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I forget which exact batch, but that's a highly lauded batch. And I kind of find out, like, we didn't give it a crazy good score, but like, that's the thing, is like, people are going to disagree with us. Our listeners very well might disagree with us on a lot of things. Don't trust us. Try it yourself. We're just here to tell you what we think of the whiskey.
So there's a 2022 whiskey Bible.
Oh, there is? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
he just hasn't gotten repped too much, I'm sure now. That's good to know. Keep it up, Jimmy. Do your thing.
Jimbo,
people buy it. Jimbo.
Jimbelushi. That's a real name, but it sounds like it should fall in line with it.
It should be like Jim Shabadoo.
Shabadoo.
So what we're drinking today is the 66% versus the 63.7%. I picked two types of glasses. I have my tall glass and my short stemless glass, so that I can figure out, or so I can determine that I'll put the higher proof one in the higher glass. That's smart. Anyway, let's give some notes on what we have drinking, or not some notes, some details on the exact things we're drinking. There is no age statement, but they're at least 5 years old. as mentioned, 100% rye mash bill. Pretty cool looking bottle. I'll show it for our YouTube people watching. It's kind of dimply
For you at
and
home,
almost like a
listening to
grenade
the
dimply,
It's grenade
but
dimply.
it's got a taller bottle with a plastic screw
with a
cap.
plastic screw cap.
Impressive for a world whiskey.
It's a
of the year.
black for podcast listeners. It's a black plastic screw cap.
Yeah, breaking it down.
I did my best.
I believe this is chill filtered.
Hey!
Because, yeah,
That's the name of the
I
podcast.
just know. Yeah, they chill filtered their standard release, and they had no mention on the bottle or anything like that of chill filtration. So you could say they're uncut, but they're not unfiltered. That's they're not chill filtered. I
Hey,
would
that
assume.
not
Hey, that's
is
not the
not
name of the
is the name of the
podcast. So thanks again, Sean, for the sample. Retail is $70 to $80, usually around 70. I'm not sure about secondary, but this is becoming easier to find, which is great. So here we go.
So
here's
cool.
here's the cork pop. That's it.
Ooh, that was actually really nice. Like,
Oh, really?
not
Nice.
for a non-cork pop for a screw top. That was great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Plastic
so
screw
we're
tops,
doing
man.
you're doing this. So I'm a little stressed here. When you started reading through it, I remember, man, the last time we did two different whiskeys, a comparison, it feels like drinking water through a fire hose. It's just constantly like
that's
this,
true.
that. So how are we going to do this? We didn't even.
Maybe
we didn't
we
game
should
plan.
just give general notes. No, because we.
Are we going to do one of them first and the next one second?
What do you want to do?
Back to back. I don't know. I'm freaking
Okay,
out,
let's
man.
just do one step at a time. We'll do neat on both, and then pull out notes on both, and then just say like what's better every step.
Gotcha. So the interesting thing too is you went like high glass, high proof.
Yep.
But also the way the little bottles are, the highest
Yeah.
one is the highest
Mhm.
proof.
Except for me, I have a bottle that's the lowest proof.
Actually, that's true because yours is not a sample bottle.
So I'm gonna start with the 63.7%, the lower
Gotcha.
proof one.
All right.
I smelled my mic again,
Ooh.
which I've done before. I'm like, why did I just yeah.
I think there's a little your neighbor's name's Mike, and he's just standing next to you. You're like, whoops, I smelled my mic.
Yeah. So one of the things I've had this one before because I bought this bottle and I brought it to Christmas. There's a really obvious to me note of anise and like a black licorice, but not like crazy black licorice, but enough to be like this is rye. That's for sure. It is purely spicy. But there is almost like a black licorice-ness to this one as well.
So I'm going to jump ahead. Yeah, I'm definitely, because, I'm freaking out here, so I'm going quickly. But there's definitely like, a licoricey kind of anise to it.
Yep.
Nose-wise, it's kind of...
It is spicy. Like you can't get by the flavor notes on this guy.
Nose-wise, there's not a lot going on. It's mildly sweet.
You got a point there. It's not like blatant notes, but it's rye on the nose to me. Yeah.
I
wouldn't say like super cinnamon on the nose.
No, that's what cinnamon's one of my favorite notes from like a Canadian or a rye in general. Not getting that. I want to say
it's candy sweet, but in a very different way than normal, like Lot like 40, for example. Go ahead.
A faint, very soft homemade caramel, like with brown sugar, but very faint. Yeah, nose-wise, not a lot going on.
Okay.
Palate-wise, definitely getting the licorice, getting the spiciness. Oh man, that's interesting because it's been a little while since I've taken a sip, but I'm getting like towards the back of my cheeks, getting like a interesting flavor. I don't know.
No, and I can't put my finger on that, but the closest I can get is almost an anisey, almost a okay. I'm gonna take a stab in the dark here. This kind of has a little bit of cardamom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Proud of that one actually.
That is. I think the anise is there. Mouthfeel wise, you can definitely tell this is a little bit hotter. It's vapory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I was really hoping for more of a cinnamon.
Yeah,
Rye,
I was too. The first time I drank it, I was actually really thrown off. Is probably the best way to put it. I'm sniffing now the higher proof, the 66%. This has a little less
I
notes.
just smelled my mic.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Everyone will hear that. Yeah. This has not as many notes as.
I'd say nose-wise, this is sweeter.
Yeah, I can see that,
Maybe
and a little
sweeter.
less of that cardamom-y black licorice mixture. Yeah.
Ooh. Definitely hotter.
Yeah, it is. Notably.
Yeah. That anise isn't there as much either. I'd say it's a little bit more
spice, like baking spices. Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides,
the cardamom anise thing isn't as prominent for sure. Good sweetness on it though. I think I like so far neat wise. I like this one better.
I'm still figuring that one out. Let me take another sip.
Shoot. It's got a good color on it.
Oh man.
I can't.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I like this one a little better than the 63.7.
I like this. This got a lot of heat on it. That's it's only 3% difference.
It's really surprising though. Like this compared to Lot 40 Cask is like there's like zero cinnamon on this. It's just they're both are candy sweet.
This one goes the 66 I think goes a little in that direction, but not far at all.
Yeah,
I get a little bit of that, but it's definitely
I could see that a little bit of cinnamon. Yeah,
yeah. But the funny thing is like they're totally different. Like the 63, it's very anise, like it's pretty licoricey forward, cardamom, like you were saying. This is just it's a decent rye. It's nice and spicy and it's nice and hot. So,
yeah.
Oh
so
boy,
taking a drop.
I gotta use my whiskey crack pipe on too, and I'm not good at it yet.
Hey, and I was talking to Miles Ferguson, and he's like, "I think I have the same one," and he does.
Is it the same one?
Found out he's got the exact same one.
I saw a message that, but never saw.
Yeah.
And oh man, did a bad job on that. There we go.
I'm doing a mad job on this. You know what I'm saying?
The old spin jar.
Yeah.
With swirly poo.
Yeah. With a cask strength, like a 60-some% whiskey, water can make a huge difference, especially with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The nose is a lot sweeter for the 63% one.
Yeah, a little more caramely, butterscotchy kind of on the
candy.
nose.
Yeah,
that sweetness comes out a lot more.
Yeah.
So one thing I was wondering. Because when I hear myself do it, it annoys me. But like the whole, do
I do that a lot?
No, it annoys me when I hear myself do it like that. Because, like, I think just having children eating around you when they just don't care, like, smacking, that drives me nuts. And so I'm more aware of the mouth sound. So I wonder, like, when people listen, like, dude, they gotta quit swirling. Or I don't know if it really. I don't know. Some people might like it. I think. Auditorily on a podcast it translates where you're like, oh, he's sniffing the whiskey.
He's giving it the Kentucky chew.
He's swishing the whiskey.
You know what drives me nuts? When Beck brings in some sherry butts. Drives me nuts. Yeah. I like it. I still like it. And the hard thing is like, I like this. This is actually really unique. I've never had a whiskey that had these kind of notes. It's candy with, like I said, that cardamom kind of flavor, but it is not as good as what is it? Batch 1 or 2 of Lot 40 Cask. Like it's not even close. And that's the hard thing. It's like it's really good. It's also really unique, but it's not as good to me.
So far with it, and I think you have two ryes that go in different directions between Lot 40 and this, and that's I think Lot 40 is Lot 40 and Caribou Crossing are kind of like my standards for what I like in a Canadian whiskey.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's unique in that sense. How much is this bottle again?
About 70 if you can find it.
Okay, so it's a decent amount. I like this with water a lot better though.
I agree. It really there was I wouldn't say it was a bitterness, but there was a bite at the end that kind of went away with water, and I dig it a little more with water too. Now I'm gonna sniff and sip the 66 proof.
So the interesting thing is, I think of anise and licorice being just bitter, like there's a bitterness to it. But that's the interesting thing. You get that licoricey taste, but it's not really bitter in a bad way. So,
yeah. That's a good way to put it, because like black licorice can almost have a bitter note, but it doesn't mean it's bad. I just took a sniff and it like burned my nostril hairs. That's why I gave that look just a moment ago.
I want to say the 63%. It is like, gosh, what is it? Good and plenty licorice. That's where it's at with that, and it kind of like this candy coating shell. It's like a good sweetness like that with the licorice. So
this is so different. The palate on the 66% with some water. It's hot. Like it's not burning my mouth, but it is like I'm breathing the vapors still.
Ooh,
just with some water put in there too. Yeah.
Ooh, I like the mouthfeel with a little bit of water on this 66 is great.
I actually like the palate more on the 63% for the water. More sweeter.
Oh man, I think this one's sweeter to me. I get a little bit more. It's definitely sweeter. It feels a little brighter too.
I gotcha.
And I'm gonna go the opposite direction as you. Like there is one spot where all of a sudden and my mouth still feels a little hot on it, where it just got real hot.
Sorry. I don't know why I screamed, but I just lost my best 2 cubes to the ground.
My best 2 cubes.
That was a nickname in college.
That's
the song of my people.
My best 2 cubes, and you used it. That counts. He's done it, folks.
I feel like this is better than the last time, at least.
I would think my best 2 cubes is like some sort of rom-com.
That's true.
Sort of thing.
More so than like the name of your band.
Yeah, halfway to.
Or maybe it's like your opening album, like your sophomore even album of.
No, I'm gonna go the opposite direction. I think if you're gonna use it as an album title, that's your greatest hits compilation.
That's true. My best 2 cubes. Yeah. By halfway to Heather.
My favorite track is Trench of Swampy Goodness. That's the best one.
Track 4.
What was I saying? I like the mouthfeel on this one. I can't remember where.
Look, the mouth.
It's delicious.
So I'm giving it the old Spin J with some ice. I do want to dilute this a little bit and kind of get it nice and cold.
Yeah,
wait, is that what happens when you add ice? It gets colder?
What? Well, I'll have to do some scientific studies.
There's like 2 people left in our listenership that like.
If there's any scientists listening, I want you to figure out
how this works.
Malt me some corn.
Yeah.
And how ice does ice make it colder?
Yeah. Riddle me this. You know that meme that's like Willem Dafoe? And it's like, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Dafoe.
Dude, he's
great.
Where's
that from? Is that Hot Rod? Willem.
No, it's definitely not Hot Rod. I've never heard of that.
What is that?
I don't know.
Willem
Dafoe is great, and he's getting the attention he deserves lately.
Yeah, Spider-Man. I never saw this latest one.
I still got to watch the latest one, John.
And then
it smells great with ice. So go ahead.
And he hosted Saturday Night Live a couple
of
weeks
weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. And it was okay.
It was decent.
He's
wild. Are you a fan of these latest like casts? Because I hate to be that guy that's like I miss, because like some people miss the Aykroyd days.
Yeah, you're getting old.
Yeah, but like I miss the Sandberg days. And
there's a few players that I do enjoy. They got this new gal this year who comes on Weekend Update and just makes fun of Colin Jost, like takes everything he says out of context, and it's hilarious. Can't remember her name. And then Kyle Mooney is one of my all-time favorites. I think he's
the African American guy, right?
No, Kyle Mooney. You think Kenan Thompson?
No, there's a younger African American.
Michael Che. Anyway, Kyle Mooney is a curly-haired white guy who.
I know who you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. He is like one of my favorites. So,
was he? He was on season 5 of Arrested Development, right?
I don't think so.
He was like
Maybe. I don't know.
Tobias's like protege.
I never watched the whole thing. I
Okay,
started the first
yeah, you don't
episode
need to.
and never
Don't
got into
ever
it,
watch
yeah.
it. It's not worth it.
All right,
Really good nose. Yeah, I love your. Oh, so check this out. Waterford. I was going to say. So my mom. It's kind of a sad story, but it's kind of exciting. My mom's mom. She is sadly moving into a home because she's had a few falls.
Was she homeless?
No, that would have been great. Yeah. No, she's got her own home, but she's
Yeah.
fallen a few times, and she's like 95 almost.
Mhm.
And it's probably time that she's taken care of, or at least attended to around the clock. And so they're putting her in like a nursing home, and but she's got to get rid of a lot of her stuff. And so my mom reached out to me, and she's like, "Hey, they're getting rid of the Waterford glasses. Do you want them?" And I'm like, I don't want to compete with anyone, but yes, like if anyone else wants it, I'll happily share it with them. But yeah, I would never turn down some good Waterfords. And so they got like wine glasses, whiskey glasses, all these kinds of Waterfords.
That's
So I'm
awesome.
excited to get some. Thanks,
I think
Grandma.
that's one of the best things about, like, here's the thing, like, it's the circumstances.
Yeah.
Sad.
Stinks.
But
yeah,
like, I love this glass. You know why I love this glass?
not
because I love Waterford, it's because Cole gave it to me. And you know what? When I drink from it, I think of my good friend Cole.
But it's a friggin' classy glass. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, this puts the ASS in class.
Well, I, as a non-cursing man, I do envy some curses. And that is one of them, especially when you append it to another adjective.
Like
classy.
big.
Yeah. Or stanky. And put it together in your minds, listeners. Yeah, like those kind of words. Like if I hopped into the cursing realm, that would be my first. Donkey. No. But yeah, that would be my first ones that I'd be like, all right, I'm getting this out of the way real quick. Stanky.
Whiskey wise, back to we are like, we're all over.
We're going long, but it's okay.
Oh, geez, yeah, we're not even done with the
listeners. Don't mind it. So I'm drinking the 63.6, 63
with ice, hot,
really good,
hot.
Oh, really? I'm not getting that, but I'm getting nice and sweet and just pleasant with ice.
I'm drinking a lot of cask proof stuff, and I'm starting to get numb. I don't know. It's I'm getting hot.
I noticed that it definitely feels underproofed with some ice in there, but it's still pleasant. Like throughout, it's sweet. It's got a lot of notes. It's got just more of a caramely roundness to it. But it is candy still, and I dig it. I don't know if it's my favorite pour. I think the ice pour or the water pour with 63% is best so far.
I think so far my favorite is water on the 66. So, all right, moving over to the 66 with ice. It's still colder. What?
Weird.
Yeah. Nose about the same. Didn't really kill it, which is different for ice, I guess. But
that's good. I didn't put too much ice in this pour. For some reason, I had a smaller ice piece because the best piece of ice fell on the ground.
My two best cubes.
Two best cubes.
Time to start tearing your clothes. Wear sackcloth. Cover yourself in ashes.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, when you lose your two best cubes, you know it.
Oh god,
people know what I'm talking about. Am I right?
I know. Yeah, November 15th, 2019.
Yep.
They're beautiful cubes.
Those are my two best cubes.
I think
at the same day, same time.
That should be our what whiskey would you choose? What day
are your
did you
two
lose
best
your cubes?
Yeah.
Or if you didn't lose them, you still have them.
Now that sounds like a virginity story or something like that.
Whoa, hey, I wasn't going. All right. Do you still
when
have
did you lose your two best cubes?
Well, hopefully the kids are dropped off and you're on your way home. Man.
Yeah.
All right. I like the 66 with ice.
I do too. I think this might be even the best pour, personally.
Will we tell you why? I don't know, but we're just telling you.
It's sweet. Okay, so here's the difference. It's still got some. It doesn't feel like it's sub 80 proof. It's still got some whiskey to it. and it's sweet and it's balanced, and the caramel notes, not as much caramel notes as the 63% one. Still good.
It's just like, so honestly,
It's very pleasant. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It is. It's the heat is great. Heat's there. And my face is my lips are going a little numb. So there is a lot of heat between these two pours. And it's just like the face you just made. 5740, Cole. Remember that.
That's why I should be on YouTube.
But this one, the only note I really get is just like, it's just full on rye, just full rye spice. Like there's not a lot going on except for rye spice, which makes sense. But yeah, I think iced. I think I like the 66 better. A little bit of water was great. You're good. No boogies.
Good. Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
I have a code word with one of my daughters who gets concerned when we go swimming if she's got boogers in her nose. And she'll say, "Dad, can I have some cotton candy?" And I'll be like, "No, there's no cotton candy today." And she'll be like, "Yes."
So that reminds me of the raccoon that found cotton candy and decided to put it underwater. And then
he's like,
he's so disappointed.
It's so
he's like, where did it go?
It's
no, I love that. Code word or code things are cool. Oh, never mind. I was like, oh, look, nice pieces of ice in my ice jar, but that's because I picked them off the ground and put them back in my ice jar.
No. Ugh. We don't have a dog.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not going to use it again. So
it's just going to be cold facial hairs that fell on the floor.
Yeah. So you said you like the 66 more?
I think 60. I do like the 66 more. Although, that being said, I think the neat with
63,
the 63, very unique.
Yeah,
I dig that. I dig that. So, but overall, I think I would want to drink the 66 more.
I think so. Overall, it's a hard one. Overall, I think I like the 63% more.
Do you? Okay.
Because I really liked the uniqueness of it.
Yeah.
As well as the water pour was great. And the ice pour was also great. But the 66% I liked overall, but I liked the it wasn't as unique. It was kind of general, very spicy rye, which is good. It's still unique. But the best pour was the ice pour. And otherwise, I really like the 63 a little more. So,
okay.
You ready for a rating?
I am.
Why don't you go first?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at us.
Yeah.
It's like meant to be. I'm going to go. So that's the thing is it's not what I expect or want out of a rye. Not my favorite.
Yeah.
But it's good. I like it. I definitely like the 66. I liked a lot. I think the 63, very unique, neat. So would I drink this again? Absolutely. Would I go out of my way to get it? Probably not as much as I would like the kind of lot 40 or like a Caribou Crossing. I even like more as a Canadian rye. But I respect it. I like it a lot. I'm just gonna give it a solid 8. It's good. It's fun. It's got some uniqueness to it. So I'm gonna go straight 8.
I like that. I feel like that's really good. I'm being swayed by your score.
Okay.
If I'm gonna combine everything, just in terms of Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye, I'm gonna go an 8.1 here. Like I said, like you said, I didn't say it. It's good. It is actually great and unique. Yeah.
You didn't write it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just gonna talk about it. I like it. It is unique. Would I throw down for another? No. Here's the thing though, is like maybe because the difference of the two batches was noticeable.
Exactly.
And maybe there's going to be a batch that's like perfect,
roll the dice. What are you going to get the next time?
Exactly. Maybe that 65.1 World Whiskey of the Year. Maybe it was World Whiskey of the Year by most people's standards. But all I'm saying is, I don't know if I'd spend $80 or $70 or $80 again on either of these batches, but worth buying, worth knowing about. 100%.
Absolutely.
I would get this at a bar to know what it tastes like any day. But now that I know what it tastes like, I might not buy another of these batches for that price. I would spend $40, maybe even $50 on these to just have a unique cask strength rye product.
Yep.
The hard thing is, and I really didn't want to compare it the whole time to Lot 40 Cask, but Lot 40 Cask destroyed this. And I think really that was because of the age. Because the Lot 40 Cask strength batches 1 and 2 were both over 10
We were
years.
younger when we drank that, and now we're old.
We're old men.
Age of the whiskey, not us.
Robby's freaking 41 years old.
Hey-o.
And I'm 31 years old.
Hey-o.
Hey-o. So let's move it on to our next segment we love to call Whiskey World News.
Yeah, we're back. It's time for a Whiskey World News, part of the show where I read an article. I didn't write it, just going to read it. Then we might talk about it, but we're going long, so we might just abbreviate everything and move things along. This week, it comes from The Whiskey Wash, written by Gary Cater, and it's titled, Heaven Hill acquires several craft whiskey labels in purchase of Samson and Surrey. Family-owned and operated, the Kentucky distiller Heaven Hill just acquired the portfolio brands and facilities of Samson and Surrey, including several well-established craft whiskey brands. The acquisition of Samson and Surrey extends to Heaven Hill's portfolio with 6 high-growth premium brands in the spirits industry, according to a company statement released Tuesday. Throughout our 86-year history, our focus has been building a business with a portfolio of great brands sold through a great team. That's my voice of Max L. Shapiro.
That's right on.
Yeah. The Samson and Surrey portfolio strategically enhances our portfolio with emerging brands and strong growth categories together with their team. Heaven Hill is poised to leverage the tremendous potential of these exciting brands. Could you imagine if you just talk like that all the time in like prepared statements?
Poor Max Shapiro.
Under the leadership of Robert Furness Rowe and Juan Rivera, Samson and Surrey built a portfolio of premium brands at a growth about 60% a year, tracking to $40 million in sales in more than 30 markets worldwide, including the acquisition of Tequila Ocho, Widow Jane American Whiskey, Few Spirits, Brenet French Whiskey,
nice.
Blue Coat Gin, and Mezcal Vago. The company will continue to operate as an independent division of Heaven Hill by Robert and Juan. And I'll go ahead and stop there. But anyway, Heaven Hill kind of expands the portfolio. It's, any thoughts, Cole?
Okay. When I first saw this news, I saw it on Instagram or something like that. Or no, I saw it on the news app that I have, who understands that I love whiskey stories. Yeah. So it like prioritizes them for me. I saw Few, and I don't know if I've ever made this public on the podcast, but Few
talked about it.
Bourbon. It's one of the worst bourbons I've ever had in my life.
We have mentioned this. There are very few.
This was like don't get me wrong. This was like 5-6 years ago that I had Few, and maybe they have a more mature product now. But I remember hating it. In fact, the liquor store that sold this bottle said, "Hey, if you drink something and you drink less than like the neck pour of it, then you can bring it back and we'll refund you." And I actually did it. I was like, I can't even finish this. Like, I would never be able to finish this bottle. And so I really do mean that. I bet they have a more mature product now. But that was the first thing I thought about, or Few bourbon. Now, their rye is a little better. It's a little more worth trying, at least in 2015, 2016 range. That being said, I do think like Widow Jane is a special one. And, the other ones, like even Brenet is something, notable. And we still need to have Brenet because there's like 2 Brenet. I believe there's like Brenet 10 and then there's another one. Very interesting. A French oak, like French whiskey. And we talked about that. We had the D'Alsace and the, how did they pronounce it? Bretagne. Jason Preston will hit me up and be like, "No, you destroyed it," or he'll be like, "No, you didn't do good on that one." But he speaks French, and and French dressing. But anyway, I think here's my second thought is that Heaven Hill was involved with this huge what do you call it? Did they ever end that strike? I think they did.
No.
Remember, like there was,
if they did, never showed up on Whiskey World News, which is the premier outlet.
Yeah, it's 100%
related to whiskey.
Yeah, no, it's number one, and we didn't even write it; we just read it and we talk about it. So, I let's just say this. I hope they resolved the conflict of the strike, the worker strike, so
And
that
I
they
hope
didn't
our
buy
level
something like
spirits
this.
lifted yours.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks,
crap, I just
everyone.
singled-
Peace. Yeah.
Oh man,
Hey,
I'm
we're
too
at
trained.
that time. We're well
Hey,
past
Pavlov,
that
thanks for
time.
ringing that bell. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I
Boy.
think it's a good portfolio. I mean, a decent portfolio. I'm curious what they'll do with Few, because here's the thing about Heaven Hill is that they're not like a conglomerate as much as they are like a producer. So like it's not like Beam Suntory with their huge portfolio. Like sure, Few is still gonna make their own stuff, but they're just under the supervision of Heaven Hill.
Of
I
Robert
wonder
and
if they'll
Juan.
change it up. What's that?
Robert and Juan are supervising.
Yeah, Robert and Juan. I wonder if it'll be better because of Heaven Hill. That's all I have to
And
say.
I wonder if our love of spirits
Lifted yours. All right. What do you have any thoughts before we move over to our next segment?
Yeah, I do. I just want to say congratulations, Robert and Juan.
Yeah.
Supervise it, man. No, I
Yeah.
agree. We probably should try doing Few on there because I had it once from like I
Wasn't
got it
bad?
in a Flavier thing.
Nice.
And I don't like
Wasn't
it at
bad.
all. So I don't like it. No. I
Oh,
agree.
good to know.
Thought it
Yeah,
was
and
gross.
maybe we'll just trash it. But we don't like to trash whiskeys. But we like to be honest. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Let's turn it over to whiskey, or what whiskey would you choose? Our next segment of the show, in which we talk about the results of last week first.
We didn't
And
write them.
last week,
You wrote them.
Yeah, you wrote them. Last
read
week's
'em.
question was, what are you enjoying now that it's February? Whether you participated in dry January or not, most people are drinking this month, unless you're my friend Carl, who decided to take February off. You hear me, Carl. Last week it was between Four Roses Small Batch Select and Robby chose Colonel Taylor Small Batch. Robby won. It was a close one, but it was 54 to 46% in favor of Colonel Taylor. So good job. And then we did the write-ins. Like I said, what are you drinking now that it's February? Madtown Marketer, Ben Klepsig, he said Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select, Barrel Proof.
Nice.
I was encouraged to hear he loved that barrel that they got. And then speaking of barrel picks, the Bourbon Badger, Caleb Olson, hit us up and said Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Store Pick. And then one of our greatest Bro Escatestanosuswa turtle friends from Canada,
Our Canadian turtle
he was drinking a Whistle Pig Piggyback Rye. He says, was quite excited to find it, and it's pretty good for the price. Good to hear. I was a little concerned about Whistle Pig's recent Piggyback Rye. Marco in KC says, Willet Rye and Wilderness Trail have been my... I can't even see the rest of this thing. How do I get the full response? I don't even know. This is why Robby does this part. But let's just assume that Marco in KC said, Willet Rye and Wilderness Trail Rye have been my next wife, basically. He's about to marry Willet Rye and Wilderness Trail Rye. And he's going to hit me up for that one. Soak It Insider, Scotch. I like that. Scotch is good. Sometimes we just go through Scotch phases. Seriously. And then speaking of Scotch, B-side, Bryce Marita hit us up and said Abulor Abunad, or Abuna, as I've been corrected by, which good for you, Bryce, because that is a fantastic Scotch.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the answer for this week.
I would use that. I would take that. So I'd take some Abuna. And I would add some milk and some cinnamon to it, and I would make myself an Abuna horchata.
Oh, you know what? To be honest, Robby, as you were saying that, I feel like cream and Abuna would actually work.
Yeah,
like it is just so rich.
Bad dad joke.
No, yeah, exactly. Like actually make that a thing and add some cinnamon. I would drink it, no doubt. I would drink that and see how it tastes.
Well, add that to the list. Abuna horchata of things we got to do.
Yeah, that'll be on the upcoming episodes. So, Robby, I hear you have what was you choose for us this week?
I don't know who told you that, but frankly, I'd rather they not talk behind my back.
Well, they always do. They're like, Robby's got a tootie butt.
This week, what? Who said that?
It was Amara.
Oh, geez. Anyway, episode comes out on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, folks.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And you know what? Valentine's is the holiday of love. And I want to know what whiskey did you first fall in love with? What was your first love? Not the first whiskey necessarily that was like, oh my gosh, I think I like whiskey, but the
Mhm.
whiskey that you were like, I love this. I could drink this every day. This is amazing. So, what whiskey did you first fall in love with?
So this is easy for me. My first whiskey that I was like, oh, whiskey's good, was Eagle Rare 10-year, the single
Yep.
barrel. At the time, it was a single barrel. And then the funny thing is that when I like fell in love, like where the butterflies were coming out, was Eagle Rare 17. I had it at a bar. After someone told me, hey, you like the 10-year, you'll love the 17-year. Go to this bar and you'll get it for like $25 or something like that. It blew my mind. Like I was like, I am instantly a whiskey lover for life now that I've had Eagle Rare 17. And that was in that time, it was a 2014 vintage. But it was
Okay.
good.
Nice.
Do you have one?
So yeah, I mean, obviously the first one that was like, oh my gosh, I can really enjoy
Mhm.
whiskey and whiskey's crazy was the
I have a
Red Breast
feeling with this
21.
one. Yeah.
But that's not the one that first one I was like, I
Oh.
could spend the rest of my life with this whiskey.
Mhm.
And I dropped onto one knee and I raised the bottle to my lips
Oh.
and I said, will whiskey be mine for the rest of my life? And that bottle was Stag Junior. I want to say, what is it? What's the batch 13? Is that the one I sent you?
You sent me 12 and 14.
So it'd be 12.
Okay.
Stag Junior 12. Where I was like, oh my gosh,
Nice.
this is so good.
So we got to do
I
that.
love this. So that would be the first one that I fell in love
I
with.
like that. So, listeners, keep an eye out this week for What Whiskey to Choose Wednesday, where we ask you, what is not the first whiskey you liked and got into whiskey, but what's the first whiskey you fell in love with?
Mhm.
Speaking of Stag Junior,
Oh
batch 12,
yeah.
and speaking of Buffalo Trace Distillery, we are going to put it up this week of a two-pick Tuesday, so we can pick what we're drinking next episode. We're going to be between Weller Full Proof, the Blue Label Weller, and then we also have Stag Junior Batch 12, which give me 1 second and I'll find the exact proof of Batch 12 is Batch 12 Stag Junior is 132.3 proof. In case
Okay.
anyone's wondering if they have it at home, I hope you do, so you can drink along with us.
Speaking of hope,
Yeah,
Cole, I hope that you have a good first day tomorrow.
Robby, I also hope that I have a great Valentine's date tomorrow.
Cole,
Mm-hmm.
I hope your dad is doing well.
He's killing it, killing it.
He's
No, he wasn't killed. No, not by your words.
God,
No.
okay.
And I hope that Bryce Marita's dad is doing well, and I hope most of all, listeners, that our love of spirits lifted yours.